Most team leaders didn't choose leadership. Leadership chose them. Usually because someone resigned, someone panicked, and maybe they were the most competent person standing closest to the fire. You walked into work like any other Tuesday, coffee in hand, inbox already looking a little disrespectful, and the big boss pulls you aside and says, "I've got some good news and some bad news," which is almost never how good news starts. The team leader's resigned or gone on leave or finally reached the point where their soul left their body during the third urgent meeting of the morning. The good news? Apparently you're rich. Just for now, of course, which in organisational language means until further notice, please carry this entire thing with a calm face. You didn't apply for this, you didn't ask for this, you were just good at the work, reliable, calm under pressure, useful in a crisis. And now everyone's looking at you like you're the adult in the room, which is a little inconvenient because internally you're also looking for the adult in the room. And one of the hardest parts, you don't want to admit in front of your team that you don't really know what you're doing yet. So you start performing leadership. You answer quickly. You stay available. You say,
"Yep, send it through.
You say,
Just come and grab me.
You say,
My door is always open."
Meanwhile, your nervous system is quietly saying, please close the door. Here's the thing though. The real problem is usually not about your competence. You're probably more capable than you give yourself credit for. The problem is that nobody explained the leadership game that you've accidentally been dropped into. Because frontline leadership isn't just doing your old job with a better title and more meetings. It's a different game, different rules, different pressure, different emotional load. And if you don't understand the game, you'll try to survive leadership with the same habits that made you brilliant at the work. And that's where good people get stuck. So let's talk about 3 leadership zones. Not personality types, not labels, zones. Because you can actually move between them and each one has a different broken game that's running underneath it. Zone 1. I didn't ask for this. This is the drafted leader. The game they're playing is to prove that I deserve to be here. You were good at the work. You were reliable. You knew the clients, the families, the risks, the paperwork, the system, the unwritten rules, and probably where the good pens were hidden. So someone looked around and thought, that'll do. And suddenly you're leading. Maybe temporarily, maybe officially, or maybe in that kind of dangerous gray zone where you've been given all the responsibility but no one's updated your position description yet. And because you care, you try to be useful, responsive. You try to prove that they made the right call. But here's the trap. The drafted leader earns trust by becoming instantly available. Every question, every decision, every wobble, every crisis, every person appearing in the doorway holding a folder with the face of someone who's about to ruin your morning. Before long, the team hasn't gained a leader. They've gained a human help desk. And that's the broken game of Zone 1, proving that you belong by being endlessly useful. Zone 2, I'm just trying to get through the week. This is the firefighting leader. The game they're playing is survive the week. You're not brand new anymore. You know the work, the team, the pressure. You know that Tuesday can somehow contain 6 separate emergencies and a meeting about well-being. You know how to respond, how to calm things down, how to make decisions when everything's on fire. But everything still runs through you. Every escalation, every tricky conversation, every emotional flare-up, every quick question that somehow becomes a 28-minute side quest. You become the emergency department of the team. And because you're capable, you can handle it. And that's the trap. Because the better you get at rescuing the system, the more the system learns that it needs rescuing. The team comes to you faster, decisions arrive earlier, the emotional heat comes to you first. And slowly, without anyone meaning to, Your leadership becomes the place where everyone else's uncertainty goes to be processed. That's exhausting, and it's not sustainable. And that's the broken game of zone 2. Get to Friday by absorbing whatever catches fire. Zone 3. I'm comfortable, but I'm not really leading. This is the steady but stuck leader. The game they're playing, keep things ticking over. Now this zone is sneaky. From the outside, you look fine. You're functioning, you're respected. People rely on you. You know how to get through the week. You know how to calm the room. You know how to absorb pressure without making a scene. A hidden rule takes hold. Don't rock the boat. Don't change too much. Don't challenge the rhythm too sharply. Don't make the team uncomfortable. Don't risk creating more work when things are technically still moving. People might even say, I don't know how you do it, which sounds like a compliment, and it is. It's also possibly a warning sign with better manners. Because if the team only functions because you keep smoothing things over, you haven't built leadership capacity. You've built a fragile piece around your capacity. And somewhere along the way, survival becomes the standard. You're no longer shocked by the chaos. You no longer expect the system to change. You become very good at keeping things moving, even when the way things are moving is slowly costing you. And this is where good leaders quietly plateau, not because they don't care, but because keeping things ticking over can start to feel safer than leading the change that's actually needed. That's the broken game of zone 3, keeping the peace by not disrupting the pattern. 3 zones, different stages, same trap. They're all trying to solve a leadership problem with personal effort. More availability, more emotional labor, more quick answers, more
I'll just do it myself because it's quicker.
and for a while, it works. And that's the really annoying part. It works just well enough to keep you trapped. The team gets answers, the crisis gets managed, the urgent thing gets done. The boss stops asking questions, the week ends. But underneath that, something else is happening. Your team's learning that you're the system. Your calendar is learning that your priorities don't matter. Your nervous system is learning that every interruption is an emergency. And in zone 3, the team is learning that nothing much needs to change because you'll keep smoothing it over. Your leadership is shrinking down to whatever is loudest, latest, or most comfortable to maintain. And that's not leadership. That's management on autopilot. The better question isn't about becoming more available. It's how do I become more predictable? Not how do I carry more, but how do I build a rhythm that carries the work? Not how do I prove I'm a good leader by fixing everything, but how do I help this team become clearer, steadier, and less dependent on me for every decision? And for the steady but stuck leader, the question is sharper still. What change am I avoiding, and what is that avoidance costing the team? Because the goal isn't to keep everything calm. The goal is to build something that can actually move forward. And that requires a different kind of leadership than smoothing things over. Trust doesn't come from keeping the peace at all costs. It comes from people knowing that their leader will tell them the truth, name what isn't working, and be willing to disrupt the comfortable pattern when the pattern is the problem. And that's the shift. From accidental leadership to intentional leadership. From absorption and avoidance to rhythm and clarity. This is where I use what I call the calm command reset. 3 moves: pause, prioritize, and reclaim command. Pause before you absorb. Prioritize before you react, and reclaim command of your own nervous system before you try to steady the team. Because if you're dysregulated, if you're over-accessible or conflict averse and quietly avoiding the real issues, the team doesn't get more leadership from you. They get more noise or more silence where the leadership should be. And in trauma-exposed systems, both spread fast. So this reset is about building one small leadership rhythm that stays. Not everything comes through me immediately. Not every issue is urgent. Not every emotional flare-up becomes the operating system for the day. Not every uncomfortable conversation gets smoothed over. And not every problem belongs on my shoulders. Now, what do you actually do? Because be more intentional sounds lovely. It also sounds like something written on a mug in the staff kitchen. Not helpful. Each zone needs a different move. Zone 1, your first move, is orientation. You don't need to walk in pretending that you've suddenly become the Dalai Lama with a supervision agenda. You need to get clear on 3 things. What's mine to carry? What's the team's to carry? And what needs to be escalated properly, rather than emotionally dumped on the nearest capable person? And that's your first leadership move. Not having all the answers, not saying, my door's always open, when your nervous system is quietly screaming, please do not open the door. Trust isn't built by becoming the answering machine. It's built when people feel that there's a steady rhythm, a clear process, and a leader who isn't making it up every 5 minutes under pressure. Zone 2. Your first move is interruption control. By now, you're not lacking commitment, you're drowning in access. Your team's learned that the fastest way to get certainty is to come directly to you. The crisis comes to you. The confusion comes to you. The half-formed question comes to you, just in case. And this isn't because your team doesn't know what they're doing or because they're incompetent. It's because the rhythm is unclear. So your first move is to stop letting every need become immediate access. When do people come to you? What needs immediate escalation to you? What can wait for supervision? What should be brought with a recommendation, not just a problem? That's not becoming less available, that's becoming more predictable. And predictable leadership is way safer than frantic availability. Zone 3. Your first move is honest naming. Name it to tame it. This zone is tricky because you may not look like you're in trouble. You're functioning. You're respected. People rely on you. The steady but stuck leader's problem isn't that they're doing too much. It's that they're avoiding something. A conversation that needs to happen. A pattern that needs to be named. A change that the team needs that feels too disruptive to introduce. So your first move is honest naming. To yourself first and then to the team. Ask, what am I smoothing over that actually needs to be said? What pattern am I maintaining that's comfortable for me but limiting for the team? What would I do differently if I wasn't worried about rocking the boat? And that last one's useful, and it's also a little uncomfortable, which is probably the point. Because the steady but stuck leader, they need the courage to disrupt. Not dramatically, not in a way that blows the team apart, but enough to move from keeping things ticking over to actually leading where the work needs to go. 3 zones, 3 different first moves. The drafted leader needs orientation. Firefighting leader needs interruption control. Steady but stuck leader needs honest naming. But all 3 are moving towards the same place. Less accidental absorption and more intentional leadership. Less managing the moment and more shaping what comes next. Because when leadership lands on you against your will, the goal isn't to suddenly love every part of it. Some parts are just ridiculous. Some meetings could absolutely have been in an email. Some quick questions should be illegal after 4:30 p.m, maybe 4, maybe 3:30. But the goal is to stop being dragged around by the role and start shaping how the role works. That's when leadership stops feeling like something that happened to you and starts becoming something that you can actually practice. So here's what I do next. Take the leadership capacity scorecard. Not because you need another quiz in your life, you've probably got enough forms, dashboards, traffic light systems, audits, quick pulse checks, trying to steal your remaining will to live, but because if everything feels urgent, or if everything feels fine when it probably isn't, you need to find the leak. Is it your calendar? Is it your escalation rhythm? Is it your supervision structure? Is it your team's dependency? Is it your decision load? Your habit of keeping the peace when peace needs disrupting? Because if you don't know where the leak is, you'll keep solving every problem with the same exhausted answer.
I'll just push through.
Or the steady but stuck version.
It's fine, we'll manage.
Both of these answers are probably what got you here. The scorecard shows you where your leadership capacity is leaking and what to stabilize first. Not everything, just choosing one thing first. Zone 1, use the scorecard as a reflective tool and then start the calm command reset. At the end of each day, ask what kept landing on me today? What actually needed my leadership? What did I absorb simply because I was nearby, available, or too polite to run away? Zone 2, use the scorecard to find your biggest capacity leak. Don't try to fix the whole system by Friday. That's how people end up with 12 tabs open, a new planner, and absolutely no change. Find the first leak and stabilize that. Zone 3, seriously look at the 90-day implementation lab. Because at this point, another tip isn't enough. You don't need another inspirational leadership quote over a picture of a mountain. You need implementation. You need rhythm. You need a clear way to move from maintaining the peace to actually leading the change the team needs. The lab's for leaders in frontline trauma-exposed systems who are ready to stop managing around the problems and start naming and shifting them. Over 90 days, we build leadership rhythms that give you the clarity, the structure, and the honest conversations that move the team forward without burning everything down in the process. You may not have asked for leadership. Maybe it landed on you. Maybe you were the competent one standing closest to the problem when someone else left. But now that it's here, you do get a say in how you carry it. You can carry it through panic, through firefighting, by keeping everything ticking over and calling it good enough. Or you can start building rhythm. A rhythm that protects your capacity, steadies the team, names what needs naming, and moves the work forward instead of just holding it in place. Don't need to become a perfect leader, but the mission is to become a steadier one, a clearer one, a leader who's willing to lead where the work actually needs to go.